What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Designsmith. Today we're going to be creating a Swiss design poster inspired by this poster that I found on Pinterest. So as I'm scrolling through Pinterest, I'm looking through all the different poster designs, logo designs, and all the different things that I normally look for on Pinterest. And this one instantly caught my eye, and it also made me instantly think Pac-Man. Just the way that these shapes right here kind of look like an open mouth. Obviously this is blue instead of yellow, but we are going to create a Swiss design poster today inspired by this one, and we're going to make it for Pac-Man. Before we get started, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help me out and I appreciate it. Okay, so if we're going to be making a Swiss poster, we need to grab a Swiss grid. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, we are all set here with our Swiss grid. If you haven't seen my video on how to set up a Swiss grid, go ahead and check that out above. I'm also always doing more videos on how to set up Swiss grids and how to design Swiss posters, so be sure to check those out. All right, so now that we have this grid laid down, let's go ahead and go to View, Guides, and Lock Guides. That way we can move around the poster as much as we want to, and we are not going to pick up any guides. Okay, so my personal preference whenever I'm putting together a Swiss design poster is to always start with the shapes. That's not necessarily a hard and fast rule, but I like to do it that way because I prefer to build my shapes and then put my text around those shapes. And let's go ahead and drop these in here for reference. Okay, so the whole purpose of making Swiss design posters is to communicate very effectively through very simple shapes and very easy to read text. So I'm going to draw a circle right here, and we're going to color drop on this yellow right here. Now I may or may not go in and change this to an official Swiss color. I'll just kind of see how everything looks once we have it all put together, and then afterwards we can recolor if we want to. So the way that this circle is going off of the page right here, I really like this. So just like in the video that we discussed yesterday, this poster has a safe zone and a danger zone. And if you look right in here, this is your safe zone, and anything that goes beyond this is the danger zone, because what ends up going beyond this is actually going to be the final trim size. So this has an intentional margin around it of this white area right here. And I want to set up exactly the same thing for this poster. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to make this background black, and let's do about a 1/2 inch margin. I think that looks good around the edges there. So that results in a danger zone area of 17 by 23. And now we'll hit copy and paste in front, and we will take this down by another 1 inch, which is a 1/2 inch on both sides. And just temporarily, I'm going to change this to a light gray right here so I can differentiate between the safe area and the danger zone. Okay, so let's go ahead and move this over here, and we are going to anchor this to the bottom of this guide right here. And the center of this circle is going to be anchored to this guide right here. And let's bring this all the way up to the top. All right, so we are right there where we need to be there. And for this next step, you want to make sure that your smart guides are turned on. So go to View and Smart Guides and make sure that's checked. What we're going to do is grab this yellow circle right here, and we're going to line this up to where we see that intersection right there where that purple line is. So now we know that the center of this circle is aligned perfectly with the edge of our safe area. And I'm going to go ahead and hide the grid. So let's go ahead and look here at our Pac-Man. So I want his mouth to be pretty wide open, and I want it to be, almost as dramatic as what we have over here on this side. So that's pretty simple. All we're gonna do here is come over here to this, and we've got our smart guides turned on, so that's gonna tell us exactly what the halfway point is. And then we'll close this loop right here. And now I'm just gonna align this to the right side of this circle, and now we're going to select both of these, go to Pathfinder and click on minus front. And it looks like I'm going to have to move this over a little bit more, because once we cut this off of this area, we still want it to be obvious that this is Pac-Man. So as you can see here, we've got our bounding box is going over a little bit too far, so we're going to move this over here off to the side, and all we have to do is select this little line right here with our direct selection tool, and now our bounding box is correct. So we're going to bring this back over here until our smart guide is right here in the center. And let's make sure that we're still good with our guidelines right here. And now what we're going to do is create one of these little ghosts right here. And we could do any color, but I think I'm going to do red. So let's go over here, and for the sake of consistency, this Pac-Man right here is going to be cut off right here on the left side. And since this shape doesn't curve, we don't have to worry too much about that. So we'll just bring this over here and make sure that this is right here in the center. And now temporarily I'm going to turn off my guides because I want to work in this section without having to worry about anything being in my way. And I'm also going to select these two right here and just lock them so that way I can't move them. I'm going to do the same thing over here with our Pac-Man. And locking is Command 2 on your keyboard if you're on a Mac and Control 2 if you're on Windows. So with my direct selection tool, I'm going to select these top two anchor points and then just go right here to these little circles, and we're going to pull this all the way down until we see that red right there. And now we need to create these little wavy lines right here and join them together. So first thing I'm going to do here is grab this and swap the fill and the stroke. I'm going to raise this up to about a 10-point stroke. And now we're going to grab the pen tool, make sure that your smart guides are lined up so that your paths are matching up here. So we're going to select this and go up to Effect and Zigzag. And we'll do the size at 1/2 inch with absolute. Rides per segment at 5, and make sure that smooth is selected. And let's go up here to Object and Expand Appearance. That way it's going to change it from an instance to an actual path. And this next part is very important. We are going to rotate this right here. And let's move this up to the point where it intersects. And now we're going to select with our direct selection tool this little area right here and just hit delete. And now all we have to do is join these two together. All right, so our ghost is looking good right there, and let's color drop this red. I'm not going to worry about the eyes because I just want the basic shapes. Okay, now we're going to go to Object, Unlock All, and I'm going to select Pac-Man and select our gray area here and click on Divide. So now everything that is to the left of this, we can just hit delete. And now with our direct selection tool, we can color drop this black right here. So as you can see, this goes directly up to our safe area right here, and it just kind of cuts off just like this K does over here, and we are staying out of that danger zone. All right, so now that we've got these shapes laid down, all we have to do now is add our type. So let's bring back up our guides, and I really don't know what to say here. Obviously, we need to have Pac-Man in here, and let's change this to Helvetica New Bold, and we'll do like a almost white for the type here. I'm not going to copy this exactly, but I definitely want to make sure that my type is looking as good as it does on the other side. And like I say in all of my Swiss design videos, if you're wanting this to look old school, then you have to go in and make sure that you are doing some nice tight kerning here. And yes, Pac-Man has a hyphen, so let's add that in there. All right, so let's position this type here, right here on this guide, and let's zoom all the way in. Our baseline is exactly where it needs to be. And I'm not going to look for anything official. I'm just going to make up some crap for the rest of the text on this poster. All right, so for sizing, if we are using our formula that I talked about in this video right above here, then we've set our main type, which is 120 points. And now what we need to do is multiply this by 0.3. So that is 30% of the size of this type right here. And I'm going to type a game of intense strategy because that is exactly what I feel Pac-Man is. So let's make sure the baseline is rested on that guide right there. And that is lined up very well on that side. And now I get to use a word that I don't like to use, which is tertiary. So our tertiary type is going to be 60% of our secondary type. So this goes right down here, and we'll put the developer right here, and we'll put the release date right here. And let's make sure that we adhere this to some kind of a grid right here. Since we're going into the margins on this side, which we need to align over here, we'll do the same thing with this one here. And then we'll type coming to a Pizza Hut near you, because why not? And then we need to figure out some good spacing right here. So whenever you don't have an extra grid line to go off right here, you can do a couple of things. You can either create a sub-quadrant of grids, like I talked about in this video up here, or you can just bring them all the way up to here, and then move it down by probably 1/2 inch or so. Just hit the Enter key on your keyboard to bring up this Move tool. And obviously you want to check it optically, because this right here is not quite enough. Let's move it down by another 1/2 inch, see how that looks. I think I'm going to align this text right here left, and we'll align this right here. All right, cool. So we have our main heading right here, our secondary heading here, and then our tertiary information down here. Can you believe it? I said it 3 times in one video. All right, so here's our before and after. Let me move this over here so that's actually a before and after instead of an after and before. One last thing that I might do is change these colors to a more Swiss color palette, so let's take a look at what we have available. All right, so we've got this yellow right here, so let's copy that to the clipboard, come in here and paste that in. And I like this red right here, that's also in that same area, so let's do this. Very cool, that is way better than what we had before. And then for a nice dark black right here, we'll grab both of those and just kind of darken it a little bit more. So much better. All right, so here is our original poster that inspired this Pac-Man poster right here. The information that's on here could have been a little bit more refined, but it's totally fine. Well, I hope I taught you something in Illustrator today. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. It really does help me with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.